Hello. Maybe there we go. Ooh, sorry about that, y'all. How is everybody doing tonight? Oof. Sorry, it feels so weird. I feel so like out of it to live stream on a Monday because I never do. Oh man, oh man. But hey everybody. Hey Allison. And Angel, if you're here, I'm so sorry about your team losing at the Super Bowl. I really didn't watch. Hey Sandy. I know y'all were watching the Super Bowl and that's why we are doing the live stream Monday. But I didn't actually watch. I heard it was bad. Heard it was bad. Oh, a rough one for the Kansas City crew. One sec, I'm just gonna grab my water. All right. Boring game. Well, that's a shame. Yeah, I heard it was like pretty bad from start almost to finish. You know, one team got kind of pulverized, but you know, to be fair, Kansas City won the last two, so it is what it is. It is what it is. And if there are any Philly fans, congratulations for your team winning. Me, I'm like, yay, sports? I don't know. Hey, Aaron. But yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital After Show. I'm your host, Dion Gabriel. It's going to be pretty laid back today, honestly. Yesterday, since I had no GH After Show to do, I ended up recording new music, which was kind of, it was a good time to do it. I had a lot to say and a lot to write about, so I did. And it was like a cathartic moment. I ended up like crying while recording it and writing it, so in a good way, But yeah. But yeah, obviously we're going to get into some of my thoughts on last week's show. We're not going to do like a full-on recap, just like you guys know. I think you guys know what happened. You guys usually do. Angel says, I'm annoyed at the show. I've got a few rants, obviously. But I didn't throw back Thursday to look up Laura's first episode. I mean, we haven't gotten to Wednesday yet. Like, what? I do like heavy metal. I do. The song is very pop punk and with like little metalcore sort of influences in there. And a callback to another song of mine as well. Are you cold or do I have blush on? I don't have blush on. I guess I'm cold. It was very cold today, by the way. I don't know why my cheeks are so red though. I don't know. I mean, I've been home for a while. Lordy. But yeah, it was like minus 30 this morning and like walking to work. It's only a 5-minute walk. Don't feel that bad for me. But like, it was hell. It was hell. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't really use GBT. But yeah, we'll talk. We can talk a little bit about today's episode too. That like it kind of just, I don't know. For me, most of last week was kind of lackluster. Um, but yeah, it's oh, 71 here in Atlanta. Yeah, it was minus 30 this morning. It's minus 18 now. So like walking home wasn't as bad as walking to work this morning. But yeah, it's 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 February, so this is just our February. Typically, we get the deep freeze in this time of year. Expecting a snowstorm in Kansas City, 4 to 6. Dang. All right, but yeah, let's get into the show. Well, let's get into General Hospital. But one thing I want to talk about before we get into the show is, and I'm sure you guys probably seen it by now, but the GH cast members appeared on the Jay Hudson talk show. Finola Hughes was there. Why am I saying all their names? I don't know all their names. I feel like I know most of them. So Finola Hughes, Laura Wright, Maurice Bernard, Donnell Turner, Cameron Matheson. Who am I missing? Jordan, the actress that plays Jordan Ashford, whose name escapes me. And apologize if I forgot any of the other cast members. But yeah, like a good chunk of them were there, and they all, it was a fun interview. They did their little like dance off towards the stage, and talked about some fun times. Poor Cameron Matheson talked about how he got an apple thrown at him because of what Drew's characters did. Again, people that just can't separate the actors from the characters they play. It's disturbing. It's so disturbing. Cameron's just somebody put Cody in a timeout. Yeah, he be messing things up, man. But yeah, it's people are arguing that they probably did a GH appearance on the talk show because there's another soap coming out. They got some new competition that could take over, and it might not bode well for GH depending on how they do the rest of this year. So, but yeah, Cameron's stirring the pot, saying Jason is Drew's evil twin. Finola jumped in and was like, he's not evil. Yeah, scary world. It truly is. Yeah, Cody be wildin'. We'll talk about that in a second, but before we do, and like honestly, after this next point, I want to talk about Sasha and Cody are next on the list of conversation. But obviously, last week we got a recast with a new actor playing Jack Brendan. I already forgot to look up his name. To be fair, I had to put these notes together pretty fast. But needless to say, I'm disappointed. You guys know that I'm always fair with recast, but like, it was just lazy of them to not get, first of all, an Australian accent. Like, this is a character that was Australian. Now he just suddenly isn't. And then he doesn't seem to have much charm to him. Like, he's not all that charming. He's kind of a bit lackluster. Like, there's not much chemistry between him and Laura Wright. It's just disappointing. It is disappointing. That Brendan recast ain't it. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I'm hoping he can change my mind as time goes on. Maybe he was nervous. He's been out of the limelight for a minute in terms of his acting career. So we will see. But like, it just felt like they made no effort to try and get someone that could fit or take the previous actor's place. And for those that don't know, he chose to leave GH. So this was not GH firing him. He just chose to leave. Who knows why? Maybe he's talked about it. I don't know. I haven't looked it up. But, it's a bit awkward. Even though I don't like Carly, still wanted to see them bang. Yeah, you remember like last week I was saying like, wow, like it's so great that like, I don't like Carly, but I'm liking her pairing with Carly and Jack, and there's all this potential, and they have chemistry. He's a fun, interesting character. Like, I was like gushing on them, and I never gush about anything Carly related, but I certainly had to because they had chemistry, and like I had to call it for what it was. It was an intriguing couple, and now I'm just like, there it goes. It's ridiculous. But again, I'm fair, so I'm hoping he was just nervous on his first day, and we'll get to see, a little bit more. See him get comfortable with the role. I mean, we've clearly lost the accent. I don't know. So many of our faves are leaving. I don't know. I can't speculate on why he left. It might have not even been GH related, Maybe he only wanted a short role, and it was supposed to be, and then it turned into something that ended up lasting longer, but who knows? All right, but now we can get into some of the plots of the show itself. We'll talk about the Sasha stuff. The thing that has been pissing me off the most, and getting right into the negativity, but I have to. The fact that Sasha wasn't denying that Jason's the father. Like, she had so many opportunities. There's no reason for her to not deny that Jason isn't the father. Or if I worded that wrong, I feel like you get what I mean. Like, there's no reason that she couldn't say Jason's not the father. It's a stranger. Jason is not the father. Why like make people speculate and just make it worse? It felt like, I don't know. It just felt like it made zero sense for her to not say that he wasn't, unless it's serving a weak plot point. And that plot point is something that we've predicted is coming, that Jason could claim that he's the father. After today's episode, it looks like there's a very good chance that he will. And it's just like, I don't know, it was nuts. Jason also not denying that was crazy. I mean, it's more believable that he doesn't, to be fair, because he was probably just, he doesn't know what happened. He didn't know what happened. He's thinking maybe Sasha claimed it to hide Michael's identity, all this stuff. Like, I can see Jason being cautious on saying one thing or the other. But Sasha, that made no sense for her not to. Just straight up deny it from the start. And it's Cody that's causing all this mess, Cody blurted it out in front of Drew. And then, it just, Drew ended up blurting it out in front of the entire Metro Court. So, also, Carly laying it on, just arguing the hell with Drew in public was entertaining. It happened on Friday's episode. The previous Friday's episode, and kind of bled into the Monday. But it was pretty fun and entertaining. Although Laura Wright did say that she had shot a scene of her really laying into him and yelling at him the day after Cameron Matheson lost his house. And I'm guessing those were the scenes, which is quite sad. Jason is in the dark about all this. Yeah, he was in the dark. He truly was. And so I can't blame him. He's being cautious. He doesn't know what happened. He was probably just going to roll with it. Sasha and her baby are even way more danger now. Exactly. And yeah, Jason was in Germany, so it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Yes, Kaiwan. Sasha not saying anything is so stupid. It's so stupid. What was her motivation to not say anything? She knew that could easily ruin Jason's life. It could put her own baby in more danger. by just claiming a guy that's even closer to Michael and than like, or sorry, closer to Sonny than Michael. I know that's weird saying like that's Michael's father, but Jason is is like Sonny's best friend for decades, long before Michael was born. Like they're like brothers, and he's his mob enforcer, hitman. So like, of all the choices, it would have been easier for you to just claim that Cody was the father. Sandy, you said, I'm surprised Cody hasn't told everyone about Nina sleeping with Drew. I'm surprised too. The way he blurted out Sasha's mess. Hey Nathan. Live streaming on a Monday for you. How you doing? Yeah, it's a mess. Yeah, Jason. Yeah, you're right, Kaiwan. Jason was kind of adopted and taken under Sonny's wing. But yeah, that's my biggest issue with this story. And now it seems like Jason is going to claim to be the father. The preview shows Sasha saying that you have to pretend to be the baby's father, and that's just silly. It is just silly. It like, because I feel like Jason had to be doing something at the time that she ran off to get drunk in a bar. I don't know. He would have an alibi. The timing wouldn't make sense. Someone's just got to do some sleuthing and figure it out. But yeah. It's just a mess. It's a mess. It is so dumb, Allison. You're right. Angel, you said the truth of Michael being the dad might come out sooner since Attorney Fried Chicken say they need dirt on Michael. Yeah, that's true. Someone's going to find out the truth. They're going to have a quiet conversation. It'll probably be a conversation between Jason and Sasha at the boathouse that someone will overhear. Hey, De Havilland. Sandy said Jason will do whatever it takes to cover for Michael. Yeah, he will. You right. But yeah, I just had to rant about that. Like, that was last week overall was not like a thrilling week for me. It wasn't a really enjoyable week on GH. And the sheer frustration that the Sasha stuff was giving me was just like reason for me to zone out through most of the episodes. And on top of that, their like whole big story last week, or one of the bigger ones, which was ridiculous. The reveal that Gio is Brooklyn and Dante's son, which, like, yeah, we got that a long time ago. The anvils were insane from the time that he got here a year ago. So, like, and that was the cliffhanger they ended on last week. It was just like, really? Angel, you said you didn't even watch last week. Yeah, it's justified. There's not much to it. But yeah, like, they made this big thing. Lois, she's scared that Brooklyn's going to try to search for her kid. And she confesses to Martin, a lawyer, about how Brooklyn had a kid when she was a kid. And the father was Dante. And the baby is Gio and living in that house. So it's crazy. Well, we're going to talk about that too, Kaiwan. I got to rant about that in a moment. I got stuff to say about that too. But yeah, it's just like, it's so insane. Like, I don't know. I don't have much more to say on it. It's just like, this is it, huh? Like, we're just stuck on the story now of like this I don't know, this recant of a story that Brooklyn and Dante were so into each other that they had sex when they were in high school, when we heard quite the opposite for literally a decade. So it's like, It's insane. But yeah, again, that's just another storyline that I'm just like, I do not care. I don't care. Oh man, it's rough. It's rough. And then like going into some of the stories, that also got some screen time. Sorry, was the stuff with Sidwell. Listen, I, for the life of me, cannot take this character seriously. I can't take him seriously. Like, he seemed like comedic relief, thrown into a story that should have been action-packed, where the villain should be scary and terrifying. And, you know, Lucky found out that he's in town, and Laura's biggest fear was that he was going to go after him. And it leads to a conversation between Lucky and Liz, about the trauma that it caused him. And again, I'm just sitting there like, dude, he literally just made you play poker the entire time, and we had to sit and watch it the entire time. And he just hated losing. And he always lost. Like, and yeah, like, if anything, like, his minions were the scary ones, the ones that beat him to a pulp. And Lucky did confess that, you know, he saw Elizabeth while he was in rough shape, and that she kind of saved his life. They also had a moment where they danced to their actual song from like the early 2000s, "Where You Are" by Reese and Claire, which is a song that I have loved. I've even covered it on my YouTube channel at one point. It's just like, I don't know. It just felt nostalgia. Even though, like, I don't think we've ever seen Jonathan Jackson as Lucky in reference to that song. If we did, it was a rare moment and probably very early on. But for the most part, that was really Greg Vaughan's Lucky and Elizabeth's song. So, I don't know. But there was still the nostalgia there. I really enjoyed them slow dancing. And just, you know, Lucky... Jonathan Jackson is such a heaven sent when it comes to acting. He's just like... He just shows so much with just his facial expressions. I feel like he and Jeannie Francis are very similar in that way. And I don't know. It was just nice to see that moment. And you could tell that he was like terrified that he was being so vulnerable and that she was being receptive to it. I don't know. I really liked it. And Jonathan and Becky, they have such amazing chemistry, and it's still here all these years later. So I just loved it. I loved that moment. It was sweet. It was nostalgic. It had me listening to the song again. I was looking up clips of Lucky and Liz when it was Greg Vaughn. I was just like gushing. I actually got teary-eyed when that scene aired. So I don't know. I really, I liked it. But yeah, needless to say, they're setting Sidwell up to be Sonny's next rival. And again, he's just someone that I cannot take seriously. Like, he's so comical. Jordan's going to go after him with a wire. And we know that's going to go so well for her, I'm sure. And, meanwhile, Sonny's in LA getting his heart checked. And someone's watching him. I'm sure it's one of Sidwell's men. Actually, we know it was because Sidwell's men called him and told him that Sonny's having heart issues. So, Sidwell knows he's vulnerable. But again, like, I can't take him seriously as a scary villain or a worthy adversary of Sonny and the city of Port Charles. I said, well, Cassadine, I don't think so, but who knows? Someone was messing with the Cassadine funds. And, like, I feel like Valentine was too busy to do that. So, I guess there's hints that there is another Cassadine character out there. They were tracking Natalia. But why Natalia, though? Huh. More comedic than the guy that was trying to kill Brenda. Oh, the Balkan? Oh, man. But yeah. I don't know. Again, I can't take him seriously. If anything, Cyrus is more terrifying. So let's get into the Cyrus stuff. Because in all honesty, the Cyrus stuff was the most interesting thing to me last week. Like, the most entertaining, the most sort of plot thickens moments. Because it feels like we're seeing... we are seeing sort of... Cyrus kind of descending into madness a little bit. You guys think that Natalia is an old flame of Sidwell's? Well, that's interesting. Unless you guys know something more than I know. I didn't cop that, but hey, it's a good theory. Why not? But also, like, equally, he could have just been trailing Sunny. But we'll see. They to that end, they do got to make Natalia interesting because she, like, right now she's just like Sunny's arm candy, who happened to be an old character's mom that is not on screen anymore. So, do you think Elizabeth is next? I think Cyrus is definitely gunning for Elizabeth for sure, especially watching today's episode. Yeah, he, I feel like equally we could be gearing up to like a who killed Cyrus story, because more and more people are getting suspicious of him, and the more people that get suspicious of him, it's like he's getting backed into a wall. He's starting to panic a little bit. He's seeing that he feels like he's being watched. Elizabeth wasn't even really doing anything, and he was just feeling that she was watching him. She's just kind of like, Lucky's partner in crime, so to speak. Yeah, Cyrus will go after Liz. I think it will. But yeah, so, and also like Danny and Rocco, they found out that Sam was murdered, and they both know that Cyrus is a suspect. So, Danny could be very well the person that kills Cyrus. Maybe even Rocco if they want like a plot twist. Jocelyn spying on him, I could do without, to be honest. Like, it's ridiculous. And the WSB is like weirdly entertained by the fact that she's putting things together and like handing her the clues and just watching what she does, which is probably putting her in danger. So, I don't know. And why? Because are they trying to recruit her to be in the WSB? That is so ridiculous. Man. But yeah. Oh, so and speaking of the WSB dropping clues to her, so Jocelyn also kind of got the ball rolling in her own head, and I forget how she got there, but she mentioned Austin, who like has not been mentioned since he got murdered. They just dropped the investigation altogether. No one spoke about him ever again until this week. No one cared that he died. No one. I thought that we were never going to circle back to this, but here we are. And they've now circled back to Dr. Gatlin Holt, or whatever his name was. And, it was funny because, like, they showed, before even mentioning Austin, they showed the WSB agents, Jack and whatever the other girl's name is, in front of this cabin, and my first thought was, wow, that really looks like Austin's place that he had. But also GH's kind of have been they're known to recycle sets, so I didn't want to read too much into it. Like, I was like, yeah, that looks like his house, but then not long after that, Jocelyn mentioned Austin, and I was like, it has to be his house, and then it was. So, maybe Cyrus will finally get caught for murdering Austin, since we know he did that. I feel like they never really showed that on screen, but like it was pretty obvious. Yeah, it was pretty obvious. But yeah, it's hard to say. Joss will be the next WSB recruit. She's so bad at it, though. She's so terrible. She wouldn't make a good spy at all. Good lord. Angel, yeah, that part, Angel. Yeah, I feel like Danny and Rocco trying to take Cyrus down is a more interesting part of the story than Jocelyn trying to get justice for Dex, a character that the show barely really invested in either. But yeah, and obviously Liz and Lucky, they're keeping an eye out for him, and they're even willing to go as far as framing him for a different crime if they can't catch him for the one that he's actually committing, just to get him back into prison. And you know, Lucky and Liz, they got Rick to look into what would it take for him to be thrown back in jail. And you know, Lucky again was showing his mischievous side, which is kind of a new thing where he's just willing to frame someone for murders that they didn't commit, or like crimes that they didn't commit. But we know he's been committing murders, so hopefully he'll pay for one of them, if not all of them. But yeah, like it's just the more time goes on, Cyrus seems to be getting more and more erratic, and you can just tell by the music they play, the moments where he's just pretty much just like giving, like, look, if looks could kill kind of looks, you know, lurking in the shadows, the camera following him erratically. Like, it seems like he is descending into madness, and I'm really looking forward to that. You know, because you might as well go all in with Cyrus at this point. They're clearly writing him to be a man who found God, but is justifying, I don't know, committing crimes by just ending people's miseries. And that might be true for some patients, but like, it doesn't make sense that he killed Sam because she wasn't unhealthy. He does appear to be killing patients in Turning Woods for those reasons, but like, in terms of like his motivations for Sam and Dex and Michael, that ain't, you know, that ain't compassion. He's seeking revenge. Those shark eyes, exactly, Mystic Mars. But yeah, it's and also Jeff Colbert is just such a good actor too. So I'm really enjoying his performance so far. I want to see the climax of this. I'm hoping we get to see it before the end of February sweeps, because so far it's been pretty lackluster. Yeah, why kill Sam and Dex? Well, one of the scenes that happened kind of towards the end of last week was his confrontation with Lulu at Bobby's, where he just kind of gloated about how much he's done for her. And like, to the point where Lulu was like, what the F? Like, what was he insinuating? What did he do? Like, it scared her into running straight to Anna and being like, what could he have done? What is he saying? Like, what did he do for me? Like, what crime could he have committed? And it's obviously, you know, it's kind of throwing hints to like, maybe he killed Sam for Lulu's sake. So maybe it'll get Anna's head turning. She did seem to kind of like, I don't know, you could tell that she was maybe thinking that for sure. Cyrus likes playing God. Mm-hmm. He got a God complex, all right. He did before, he does again, and now he's using religion to justify it. He killed Sam for Lulu. Yeah, like, that seems to be the story they're going with. My only thing is, like, there seemed to essentially be no hope for Lulu when he killed Sam, because even though she got through the surgery of the kidney transplant or whatever it was, there was no inkling that Lulu was gonna wake up. Like, she woke up by a miracle. Like, it had nothing to do with the surgery she had. She just woke up randomly. And, like, he couldn't have predicted that. Also, he was trying to get her out of the country. Or out of the state. So, like, that's where it loses me a little bit. Like, what's his motivation for trying to get her out? It felt like he was gonna, like, disappear without a trace with her. And to what end? Like, what was he planning on doing with Lulu once he took her to a different state? Or was he just planning on taking her away and then killing her there so that no one would ever know if she was alive or not? To end her suffering. But at the same time, this stuff with Sam. So, like, it's just confusing. I want some answers, and I want them now. That's where I'm at with the story. But again, like I said, it was the most intriguing part of the week for me. Cyrus's descent into madness and all the things it could potentially lead to. He is gunning for Elizabeth. Probably going to gun for Portia as well. Probably to Jocelyn and Lucky too. Even like the way that he was staring into Bobby's at Jocelyn earlier in today's episode was so creepy. I couldn't tell if it was like, I know she's lying to me, or like, what does this mean? Maybe he's gonna be like, maybe I should reunite her with her boyfriend because I feel bad now. Like, maybe he'll try to kill her too. It's hard to say. Oh man. But we shall see. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, and then like the other kind of big plot, which really only happened on Friday's episode and kind of led into this one's Monday's episode, today's episode. Carly and Nina teaming up to take Drew down. Like it's cool that they are teaming up after they should really be killing each other, but they have a common goal and something to achieve. So I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I think Laura Wright and Cynthia Witros play well off of each other as well. So I'm here for it. But as for like the rest of the week, Willow moved out of the Quartermain mansion. Seen it coming. She was playing footsies with Drew, you know, sneaking him into the house, and Carly ends up finding his tie there, and that's when she confronted Drew at the Metro Court, and that all blew up. But yeah, it's it is crazy because like they're obviously gonna lead her into moving in with Drew, and that's when Carly and Nina are going to set their plan in motion. It's so funny because like, you know, they know him so well. They know him so well that like they just expect him to move Willow in, and they know Willow so well to know that she's just going to do it because she's going to do whatever he says. I don't know. It is funny. Like the fact that Drew is that predictable to them is crazy. But the promo for this week also showed Nina coming pretty damn close to confessing to Willow that she had slept with Drew. I hope to God she does, because no matter what Carly and Nina do here, I'm not going to be 100% pleased until Nina owns what she did, so that it takes away Drew's sort of blackmail power towards her. Like, you don't want to look bad in front of Willow. This is a desperate time. Like, tell her. If you are as scared for your daughter as you say, then like tell her the damn truth. Tell her that this guy who's helplessly and hopelessly in love with you was sleeping with you within the same 24 hours that he like made out with her or had sex with her. Like, you know, it's insane. It's insane. Yeah, the show is pretty bad right now, Rick. There were things I liked about it, truthfully. I liked Jack and Carly, but now there's a recast that just doesn't have the same chemistry. I still like Rick and Ava. They had some cute scenes today. I like Kai and Trina as well. So there are things that I do like about the show, but it's definitely been in worse shape. but it's definitely not in great shape. So there's always room for improvement. And I'm hoping the show gets there. I hope the fact that there's a new soap coming, I hope that lights a fire in their ass to try to make the show more watchable. But yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'm intrigued to know exactly what Nina and Carly are gonna do here. It's nice to see Carly being mischievous again, and like using her sort of lack of better judgment into like scheming against him to try and break them apart. It's very on brand for like Carly of the yesteryear. But we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. And Drew, like they're really setting him up to be a villain. Like he spent the week on top of like, manipulating Willow as he always does, but like also like meeting up with Sidwell and meeting up with Selena Wu, like just all of Port Charles' worst. And I don't know, I did like the scene between him, Laura, and Sidwell, because Jeannie Francis, like she just plays Laura so damn well in these scenarios where she's just unbelievably annoyed that this guy is just like a buzzing, mosquito in her ear, Sidwell, I mean. And she's just like being snarpy with him and just like sarcastic with him. And I don't know, I just live it. I love to see Jeannie Francis do these kind of scenes. So I love the two of them sparring. Drew needs to get the Glock. He might. Beyond the Gate has a few soap actors on it. So I've heard. I will be watching at least the first episode because I'm intrigued. And I hope, like, it's not that I think that it will necessarily win me over. It just depends on what kind of soap it ends up being. It's hard to tell from just the previews. Because, soaps, again, I have to write 5 days a week all year long. So it'll be interesting. I'll try to, if I don't watch every day, I'll try to keep up with it in some way. Try to get to know the characters of the stories and see who I find interesting and who might be someone that would be entertaining to me. I don't think I'll turn me watching that into another sort of regular Sunday show with it. I might talk about it from time to time. Maybe I'll save those for Wednesdays when we're not really watching classic clips or something. But again, that's only if the show piques my interest enough to continue watching it. But for sure, I'll definitely have at least one live stream dedicated to my thoughts on Beyond the Gates from when I do watch. Maybe I'll just watch the first episode. Maybe I'll watch a week's worth. It'll just depend on how I feel after day one. Yeah, it's not gonna be its own regular Sunday show. I just don't have time. I can barely scrounge up like my notes for, one GH review a week, let alone 2 soap reviews. And your boy is busy as I'm spitting water everywhere. You think it's going to pique your interest? I kind of hope so. The show can really be whatever the writers really want it to be. And they've got some decent ones on board. But, yeah, I don't know. I think because of, like, I've been in a situation where I've watched General Hospital most of my life. And what set GH apart from all the other soaps was how much action-packed sequences there was on our show compared to the rest of the soaps. And so that's why the rest of them truly didn't pique my interest that much. GH had the mob element. They had like crazy stories in the 80s that I found intriguing. they had super spies and super couples and just like crazy evil families that want to rule the world by freezing snow. Like there's just all these like crazy larger than life stuff on GH. And while it was nothing like it was in the 80s, in the 2000s, there was still enough elements of it that it piqued my interest in learning the history of the show and keeping watch and keeping up with all the characters that were left from those glory days. Um, you know, it's just it was hard to even toy with the other soaps, and the only times I would watch the other soaps was if they were doing some action-packed sweep stunt event as well. Because the other soaps, they did do some every now and then, but that was like the only time they got interesting. There were times where GH was like that as well, but at least we always knew, like, no matter how boring it gets, in the low season of GH, there is always February and November when things will pick up, and they inevitably did it all the time. And so if by chance Beyond the Gates ends up being a bit more action-packed, maybe it'll hold my interest. But if not, and it's just ridiculous drama that's, rich families attacking each other for whatever reasons, it might not work for me. But yeah, we'll see. Someone said I think we had 10 days before it airs. And time will tell. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Again, I didn't really find last week all that great. The most interesting stuff to me was the Cyrus stuff. The rest of it I could have done without. That's just how I feel. But I hope it gets better this week. I hope that they really lean into the Cyrus stuff for the rest of the February sweeps. I know we always call it February sweeps, but like realistically, sweeps isn't a thing anymore. But they still somewhat utilize February to at least make GH a little bit more interesting. 2 weeks, okay. Thanks, Sandy. Allison, you said you loved the action and super couples on GH in the 90s. I loved the action couples from the 80s. Like, I was a big Robert and Holly fan, and Luke and Laura fan, and Frisco and Felicia fan, and even Robert and Anna, and just there was a lot of solid couples in the 80s, and they were all larger than life, and all had these sort of fantasy lives that you kind of wanted for yourselves, and yeah, I don't know. Just, they really were the definition of the super couples. And I still will say to this day that, to me, in my opinion, the last legitimate super couple on the soap was Sunny and Brenda in the 90s. 90s version of Sunny and Brenda were like the last sort of reminiscent super couple that was just like ride or die for each other, and you were really rooting for them, and they got these big storylines and these big productions that no other characters were getting, and that was it. Now there's been great couples that I adored. After that, you guys know I was a huge J-Sam fan back in the day, and there were couples that were popular and had big followings, but it wasn't the same as like super couple sort of hype for them. Did you see the 80s on YouTube? Yeah, I watched it all on YouTube. I binged. Listen, I binged. And I feel like I've told the story before, but just to give you context, when Jeannie Francis came back in 2006, I had no idea who Laura was. I just knew that she was the woman that sat in the chair that we never saw the face of, and everyone was making a big deal about it. My family was freaking out about it, like, oh my god, Luke and Laura, blah blah blah. And I liked Luke, but I didn't know his sort of legacy. And at that time, there were YouTube channels posting the entirety of their story. So leading up to Laura's return in 2006, I binged so much Luke and Laura stories, and I fell in love with just how, first of all, how big the show was, the location shoots. I was like, man, the soaps would actually go out and do these big stories and go have these characters go on the run and all this wild stuff, and it really got me interested. And then that sort of spiraled into like looking at other super couples that were kind of in the realm of Luke and Laura. So like I seen Robert during their height, and so I was watching Robert and Holly after that. And then also Frisco and Felicia were part of Luke and Laura's story, so I watched their storylines because of that. And and it just gave me just a lot more respect for the veteran characters, because they were on when GH was truly on fire. And it really made me know, like, or just know where other fans that had been alive during their glory years, like how much it sucked that they were getting so very little screen time, and that they were being so disrespected and fired left, right, and center to make way for these new characters, or just like giving all the screen time to the holy trinity of Sonny, Carly, and Jason. I really understood it, and I was like, man, you're right. Like, they got all these amazing actors with such like decades-long careers under their belt that were acting in stories that really made GH the sort of powerhouse that it became. And they weren't doing anything with those characters anymore. It made no sense. You did not know who Laura was in 2006? Well, no, not really. Like, to be fair, like, it's not... I wasn't... You gotta think, I really only started watching GH in 2004. And so Laura was already gone. My grandmother, she'd watch. My mom really, while she watched in the 80s, she took a long hiatus until I got into the show. And then she was asking me all the questions about GH. So, but like, when Laura was coming back and I was like asking, like, what's all the hype about? She was excited because, in her college days, she was watching Luke and Laura. And, she was, I guess, apparently, and I don't know, this could just be my mom saying this, but my mom used to tell me that a lot of people told her that she looked like Emma Samms from when she was that young. I don't know, maybe I'll show you a picture of her sometimes, of her in the 80s, but I could somewhat see it. They had very similar fashion styles and very similar hairstyles. So I don't know. Andrew said, when I watched TV shows from the 90s and early 2000s, they would reference GH. Yeah, but I see, like, when I was younger, I wasn't really into, like, much sitcoms where they would have been referenced. Like, I didn't watch Roseanne. I've seen the clip since then. But, like, the only sitcom-y shows that I watched were, like, Fresh Prince and Boy Meets World. Like, those were my two. And then it was just, like, Disney Channel, like, That's So Raven vibes and whatever else in that era. And then I just got less interested in TV all around, so I don't know. And mostly when I was a kid, I was watching cartoons. I was an anime nerd, so, like, like, it's just, it is what it is. Different strokes for different folks. Didn't watch Clueless? No, I didn't. I really didn't. I've heard of it, but I didn't watch it. Or maybe I did, and it just didn't pique my interest enough to really, truly pay attention. So you're watching all the soaps and Saturday morning cartoons. I mean, like I said, my grandmother, she was the one that watched GH the most in our household, prior to me. But I was always, like, in school until it was, like, halfway over, and the only times I would actually pay attention to it was when I was sick from school. So And luckily for me, one fine February, either February or November, I had the worst flu. So I was just like couch ridden for like a couple of weeks, and it happened to be during the Port Charles hotel fire story. So that's what really got me like paying attention. So I was like, this is like your stories. This is like that boring show you watch. Like that was my reaction. I was like, wow, it's actually interesting. I thought it was lame. Like, I don't know. Because even though it was like on sporadically when I was a kid, it's not like I paid much attention. I was just getting home from school. I was doing my homework. So like I'd be like, oh, that show again, and go down and do whatever. But like, I don't know. Plus, I feel like Sailor Moon was on for like around that time frame as well, and I preferred watching that. Watched all the ABC soaps. Yeah. But see, you guys also had things like SoapNet where you could catch up to all the soaps all at once too. I didn't have that luxury. Well, if I'm referring to like back in the day, like GH I think was like the last one where it would air from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. My time. And I would watch. Like, you know, like when I started watching, I would watch like the last half hour. But there was a point where like I would just go on to YouTube, because this is back when like things could get uploaded to YouTube and not delete, and there were websites that would just post the you know, they'd post 7 clips each sort of segment in like really low Windows Media Player format. So I would watch from that until I started working full time, and we had TVs that could actually just like record, because my grandmother doesn't know how to do any of that stuff, and my mom obviously worked as well full time, so we couldn't really record back then, and it wasn't as simple as just like setting up a timer. Like, we didn't have that kind of VCR. Nope, Canada did not have SoapNet, SoapZone. We did not. We had just our regular channels. My first experience with SoapNet, the first time I ever got to see SoapNet in real time, was the 50th anniversary, because I was on a plane, well, actually on a plane coming home from California, I think, pretty sure. Yeah, California. So like, that anniversary is coming up really fast. I'm seeing the countdown on my Facebook memories. But yeah, that was my first experience with SoapNet, was watching the 50th anniversary marathon that happened to be on. They were showing endless episodes of GH, and I was like, dang, I'm set for the entire flight. SoapZone is a chat board? Oh, I didn't know that. Does it still exist? I do not know. Do we have Canadian soap operas? No, nothing like what soap operas really are, or like soap operas in the sort of traditional sense of the word. We have like our primetime shows that are very soap opera-esque, but we don't have like 5 day a week, all day, you know, all year long shows like that. Hey, Brooklyn. Do I think that Michael's character will be replaced? I think, if you mean the actor, I think they're going to hold off as long as they can, but they have to bring him back. So whether or not he gets recasted will ultimately be up to Chad Duell. He's gonna come back one way or another. I'm hoping for a recast. I ain't even gonna front. I'd like to see someone else take on Michael, and hopefully a new, edgier approach that makes Michael sort of be more enjoyable. Kaiwan says maybe they'll bring him back with a better actor. Oh, I hope so. Like the little glimpses of like the people that have stepped in for Chad when he was sick or anything, like I really enjoyed Michael Farmore. Because they always try to write him like he's this big catch, and I'm like, he is just like a spoiled rich kid in a man's body, and not even like, you know, an attractive one. Attractive face, his body, whatever, I don't know. I've just never noticed. He's not like your typical soap stud, is what I'm saying, you know. And like the son of a quartermain who was, you know, with like a vixen of a mother, and AJ was a pretty hot dude as a father, and they just gave birth to a nerd. I don't know, that's how I felt after Chad started playing him. Drew Garrett, to be fair, like he was young, but he was like somewhat attractive. He obviously had a big glow up since then, but like, I don't know. And he had like his recklessness, like his parents. So I miss Wild Michael, and I want someone that looks like he's capable of playing a Wild Michael again. Sandy said, I want Michael back to find Drew homeless and broke and Willow working the streets. That'd be funny. Oh man, time will tell, I guess. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, though, I think I'm going to end the stream here. We've been streaming for more than an hour, a little more than an hour. I don't know if I'm going to stream Wednesday. I should. I feel like there was one more request that I haven't done yet, and I'll have to look into that. We'll see. It was probably Kaiwan's like something Susan Moore related thing. We'll see. And that's not to say that I'm not going to take that request. I will at some point. Life's just a little bit busy this week. And to that end, Sunday this weekend, I'm going to have to figure something out on, because there is an event that I have to go to in the evening, and I can't miss it. And it's going to go way past our regular live stream time. So it might result in like a much earlier Sunday stream where it'll be a bit more chill and laid back. I'll figure something out. But worst case scenario, it'll be on Monday again, but Sunday's up in the air for now. Want to see how Monica adopted Jason. Where's TJ? Good question. Where is TJ? He's been gone for over a month. They forgot about him. In fact, I think parts of his apartment are now Ava's. How Monica adopted Jason, though. That might be a good one, if I can find it. But yeah, either way, I'll let you know about Wednesday. I want to live stream Wednesday, so I think I'll make it happen. Whether we're just hanging out or watching something, I'll make sure that we do live stream on Wednesday, and Sunday we're gonna figure it out. It's either we stream very early Sunday, or we stream Monday night like we did this week. And I'll probably make a poll on like the Saturday just to ask you guys what you would prefer. Yeah. Yep. They want her with Cody now. Can we just have Cody and Lulu instead? That would be far more interesting. Angel says, I'd rather TJ yell, Ava took my baby, than Christina. Yeah, that's true. That would be less frustrating to watch, TBH. Alright, y'all. But I'm going to end the live stream here. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me rant and ranting along with me. I always appreciate you guys in the chat. If you liked this live stream, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. I'd really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys this Wednesday. Not sure what we're doing, but I'll catch you guys this Wednesday. And then again, either Sunday or Monday, depending on what you guys feel. All right. Good night. Mwah. I